and Elon went to see the board members and offered to buy 100% of the company. But the board members said no. So the next day, Elon went to see the board members with Luca Brasi. Within an hour, they signed a release for a certified check for $43 billion. Elon made them an offer they couldn't refuse. Luca Brasi held a gun to their heads, and Elon assured them that either their brains or their signatures would end up on the contract. It's a true story. Well, except I just made it up.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. And if you hear, I don't know what you would call like a screeching in the distance, get used to it. It's going to be going on all day as Elon Musk has now begun his hostile takeover, offering a massive premium to 100% of stockholders to take Twitter private. Now, the offer is more than fair, and I would imagine that the board and the CEO of the company are going to be forced to either accept it or retire because they will not be doing their fiduciary duty by turning down this offer. Now, some rando Saudi guy also owns 5% of the company, and he's already turned it down, but that remains, there's still 95% of the shareholders out there that the board must represent in addition to Mr. Oil. So it's been absolutely hilarious. The meltdowns will be going on all day. We're going to get at least 2 hilarious memes out of this, maybe even 3. I can't wait to get into all of this. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to report that the podcast is doing well. I'll leave it linked in the pinned comment below. It basically summarizes all of today's news tomorrow, so you can wake up in the morning. It'll be live by 9 or 10 a.m. every day. You'll be able to get all caught up in case you miss anything. I'm adding timestamps to it too to help. It's on Spotify, it's on Android, it's on YouTube, it's on everything. So check it out. Now this morning, Elon tweeted out, I made an offer. No big deal. 500,000 likes. What is that offer? Well, it's for 100% of Twitter. If you look at Exhibit B as highlighted, Brett Taylor, chairman of the board, I've invested in Twitter, and I believe in its potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe. And I believe free speech is a social imperative for a functioning democracy. However, since making my investment, I now realize the company will neither thrive nor serve the social imperative in its current form. Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company. As a result, I am offering to buy 100% of Twitter for $54.20 per share in cash, a 54% premium over the day before I began investing in Twitter, and a 38% premium over the day before my investment was publicly announced. My offer is my best and final offer, and if it is not accepted, I would need to reconsider my position as a shareholder. Twitter has extraordinary potential. I will unlock it. Oh, this is absolute Chad stuff. So in between the lines, he's basically saying, hey, if you reject my offer, I'm pulling out my, I don't know, 9% that I bought in, which will absolutely massively negatively affect the stock's share price. And basically calling out the board and calling out Twitter management as basically incompetent and worthless. And I guess like we already knew all of that, but what a absolute baller offer. You see, Nicholas Belko writes, if the board rejects the offer, the stock will never recover. They didn't believe this man was serious. Now, if you look at Twitter stock today, it's been interesting. It's basically been going down ever since the offer was made. And interestingly enough, it's starting to creep back up. I wonder if this means that they think he's going to buy it. You see, Twitter CEO warned of distractions days before Elon Musk offered to buy the company, which means he probably knew. So Elon Musk offers to buy Twitter for $41 billion. Billion. And Twitter shares jumped early 12% in pre-market trading, but have since kind of backed off. He makes a $43 billion unsolicited bid to take Twitter private. And this would be just a massive, massive cultural, technological shift. This is what Elon does. And do I think they will accept it? No, I don't. I don't think they will. But I think they should. And I think it's such a, how do I say, it's such a generous offer that he almost certainly has to. Twitter board almost certainly is going to have to take this money because they're not, they're there to represent their shareholders. They're not there to represent the screeching lunatics on Twitter. You see, Elon, this Vice, of course, leftist media is absolutely melting down. Elon Musk just launched a hostile takeover of Twitter. The Tesla founder and notorious meme poster has launched a best and final offer of $43 billion, saying the company needs to be transformed. Now, the filing contains a letter Elon Musk sent to the chairman of Twitter's board of directors, Brett Taylor, which says, I now realize the company will neither thrive nor serve the societal imperative in its current form. Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company, he added. Twitter has extraordinary potential and I will unlock it. Musk warns that if his offer is not accepted, he will also reconsider his position as a shareholder. He currently owns 9.2% of the company. The filing contains a transcript of a voice message that Musk sent someone at the company outlining his reasoning for making such a bold move. Quote, as I indicated this weekend, I believe that the company should be private to go through the changes that need to be made, Musk wrote. After the past several days of thinking this over, I've decided I want to acquire the company and take it private. The message then asks, are you available to chat? It's unclear if anyone responded, but Musk continued that this is his best and final offer and he's not playing the back and forth game. I have moved straight to the end. Musk adds that this offer is a high price and your shareholders will love it. The $54.20 premium is 18% premium over the closing price of Twitter shares on Wednesday's evening. And as Musk pointed out in his filing, Twitter's share price has risen 38% in the week since his investment was made public. Musk, a world-class troll, also appears to be once again playing up to his role, with many in social media noticing that the offer price includes the number 420, a well-known reference to the herb that Musk has used multiple times in the past, 5420, including when he tweeted that he was considering taking Tesla private. Now, the thing that is interesting about all this is, if they walk away from this and they don't take the money, what next? Well, I believe wholeheartedly that Elon will be a man of his word and sell his shares. That said, what's hilarious about all this, and again, I said this since the beginning, like the dude just wins no matter what. If they decline to sell him the company, he'll know before anybody, which means at that moment, he will initiate a sell-off of his shares. And he made, I think, about $1 billion on that investment. So he'll walk away for basically screwing around for a week with another $1 billion in his pocket, money that he could use. If he put $1 billion down, he could use to create an alternative platform. That would be a possibility. But I still think, in terms of market share, if you put $1 billion into Gab or you put $1 billion into Getter, I'm not sure that they would ever have the ecosystem that Twitter does. And maybe you view that as a good thing. But as I've always said, there's a reason all these alternatives fail. And that's because people like to use these platforms to argue. And if you go to Gab, you go to Getter. I mean, I still have a presence there and I use them because I support all alt tech. But I mean, it's essentially an echo chamber. And that gets boring after a while. And what people really want is to argue with lunatics on Twitter. That's just the facts. I've talked about at length, my opinions on Twitter and, and using it less and less these days because, It's just a toxic time suck. But if you see Elon's post here, you see Gab reply to it. Good on them. Counteroffer. Sell your 9% in Twitter stock. Invest $2 billion in Gab. Join Gab's board and let's take them down. Gab will never take them down, but, you know, they could, you know, grow, you know, they'd probably gain like 5 to 10 million users. That's a legitimate base. Just like I've always said about Trump. Like, one of the most moronic things he ever did was take the advice, I think it was Kushner or something like that, told him not to join Parler or Getter. Trump should be on all of these alternate platforms. The reason he's not is because he's addicted to Twitter. He's not. The reason he doesn't care about Truth Social is because he's addicted to Twitter. He wants to, trigger the libs. That's what he wants. And that's what a lot of us like to do. And they like to go after conservatives and things of that nature. You see a lot of people in the replies. A man willing to spend $41 billion for free speech is a good man that I can admire. 100,000 likes. You see Kat saying that Twitter's about to thrive or turn into MySpace. You know, Gab in there begging for money. I don't mean that in a negative way. If Twitter threw Gab a B, if Twitter threw Gab $500,000, or I'm sorry, if Elon threw Gab like $10 million, $20 million, they could double or triple their user base almost certainly. They have their problems. I have my ideological issues with their owner, but Gab is still the closest thing out there to a free speech platform. It's not on the marketplaces, so you're going to have a hard time getting normies. But if they could really solve that, well, then they'd have something. You get Cassandra McDonald writing, if they agree, can you fire all the woke weirdos that work there and get fun ones? It's nuts. This presumably restoring free speech to the world's most important social media platform, aka the public square, is the most consequential thing you'll ever do in your life. Not electric cars, not rockets, not being the world's richest person. This. And now I would argue, and I agree, that Twitter is a public space, which is why I've always said that Section 230 needs to be revised, because, we just saw Twitter lock the Libs of TikTok account yesterday for mean tweets or whatever. It's interesting. Of course, is buying Twitter the best use of $43 billion? Yeah, maybe. Opening up, regular conversation and I don't think Elon is going to be directly involved very much. I think everyone basically knows what Twitter needs, and we're going to watch how this shakes out today. I'm certain that we're going to get another video or two on this as things develop. So make sure, if you haven't yet, you click that red subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.